Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor at MetaStellar. And here with me today is AMIRA LOUTFI, who's our reviews editor. Hi, AMIRA. Every Friday, AMIRA and I, and whoever else we can round up that day, read the top 10 free sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon, or we try to. It's a lot of books. We often just read the first couple of chapters, and we let you know what we think about it. Is this worth reading? So today's list has time travel and vampires and alien lovers and lots of space battles. So let's get started. First book, the number one on today's bestseller list for free sci-fi and fantasy is War from a Distant Sun by Anthony James, the first of 7 books in the Savage Stars space opera series. The other books are between $1 and $4 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can read all of these at no additional cost. If you don't have Kindle Unlimited and you read more than $10 worth of books a month, it's a great thing. It's like Netflix for books. So Alex KOROLOV, our news editor, read this one, and he says this is a great book for people who like The Expanse on Amazon Prime, a sci-fi space opera, and it begins right in the middle of action with a scrappy warship coming face to face with a superior enemy. And he liked it and says it's a fun, fast-paced read. And we also had a review of it from Nichols, one of our contributor. And he also said it's fast-paced military sci-fi. However, Nichols is in the military himself, so he's got a very strong opinions about space battles. But he says that there's some very decent space battles to be had here if you can get past some of the kind of flat characterizations in the book. And he likes the classic sci-fi feel of the hostile alien worlds and having non-human species out to kill us. So he liked the action, but he doesn't think he's going to be continuing to read it because of the quality of dialogue. So that's him. I'm actually looking forward to checking out this book myself because I do like sci-fi and I do like space battles, and that is my kind of thing. And next we have a book that AMIRA read, Love Beyond Time by Bethany Claire, the first of 19 books in the Morna's Legacy series of time travel romance. The other books are $4 to $6 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. The 19th book is scheduled to be released this April. So AMIRA, what'd you think of this?
It was great. I was very impressed. So in general, I felt that the plot was, there are main elements of the story were tied together really well. It fit together like a puzzle. And it was funny, and I liked the plot. So the plot is basically that there's a modern day school teacher who goes with her hotshot mother, who's an archaeologist, to a dig site. And as they're digging, she finds a magical plaque that transports her back in time. And it doesn't just transport her back in time, it makes her switch bodies with another woman who looks exactly the same as herself. So she goes from modern day to the 1600s in Scotland, and she's immersed in the mystery or the story that her mother was trying to solve. So before she even goes there, we learn that we learn a little bit about what happened at this dig site and why it's interesting, and why her, that her mother's like determined to figure it out, and it's really interesting. And then she herself like transports there, and it's like, I think it's good. I really liked it, and I'm gonna be back. It's kind of like the type of writing and the type of like structure that I would like to do as a writer too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you read the Outlander series?
No.
Okay, because I was going to ask you if this is similar to that,
Oh.
because that's a time travel romance. They made a movie, TV series out of it by Diana Gabaldon. It's like a huge bestseller.
Nana, what's her name? Nana Gabaldon?
Diana Gabaldon, and
Diana.
the
Okay.
books and the TV series are called Outlander.
Mhm.
And I thought it was hard sci-fi time travel, so I picked it up because I would never voluntarily read a romance book. And I got hooked. And I wound up reading like all the books that like were released, as of that time. I don't think I'm caught up to the rest of the series. Because I kind of got to, because when you step away from a series for a while, you kind of lose track of everything that happened in it.
Yeah.
And I also have a passing interest in watching the TV show too at some point.
Mhm.
I heard that the male protagonist actor is really, really hot.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
So is it on HBO or Netflix?
it's on one of those. I forget which one.
Mhm.
It's out there somewhere. And
Uh-huh.
basically, yeah, it's a story of a modern day woman, a nurse who travels back to Scotland and uses her modern day skills, and also gets involved with the long ago politics and everything else. So it's a lot of fun. And so I guess there's another series for you to check out once you finish reading these 19 books.
Well, I probably won't get through all 19. I was shocked when you said that there are 19 books in the series.
And they're not in Kindle Unlimited. So if you don't, you'd have to pay $4 to $5 a pop. That's a lot of money.
I mean, it's worth it if it makes you happy.
That's true, because you'd spend like $4 or $5 for a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
and like much more than that to go out to a movie, and you read a book for much longer than you'd watch a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it makes you happy, sure, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And so the next book, let's do a close-up so you can see that book cover there, because there's actually 3 books in one. So this is the first 3 books in the 9-book Dowser Cozy Magical Mystery series. The other books are $4 to $5 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. And the first book is called something having to do with cupcakes, right?
Mhm. It's called oh, I thought I wrote it down. I didn't. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, what did you think of it?
Pretty cool. I say pretty cool. Intriguing. I had a couple moments where I was on the edge of my seat. So I only read the first chapter, and the plot has there are some threads that are beginning to form, but nothing like really that serious just yet. However, we do learn a lot about the magic system and the world that Jade lives in. She works in a really cute cupcake shop, and it's very popular. She lives in a magical area of Vancouver, and I'm not sure if in this world it's just accepted by everyone that like it. So the impression I kind of got is that in this world there are just magical areas, and the magic is limited though, and people know about it and they just accept it. So here in this world, you can have different levels of magic. The main character and her sister are both on the low level, and the main character herself can't really do much more than just seeing magic. So, and she also has a habit of collecting odd trinkets. And those odd trinkets turn out to be driving the plot later on, or not later on. I guess it's just like by the end of the first chapter, right? So by the end of the first chapter, you find out like, oh, there's a vampire who's like stalking her, and she can see that he's a vampire. And he, he stalks her at work. And then later that day, she finds him on her balcony. And he's just like balancing in like a weird, mystical kind of way on her balcony, because it's not like a real balcony.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so he shows her one of her trinkets, and he's just like, next time I'm coming inside. So
That's
it's kind of cool.
creepy.
Yeah. I mean, it's and he's creepy. He's not like a beautiful vampire like from Twilight. He's like a creepy vampire. That's
I
like
didn't know the
maybe,
vampire for Twilight was also kind of creepy. Didn't he also watch her sleep?
but he was gorgeous.
Okay, let's agree to disagree.
I mean, he was so beautiful. She didn't care that he was like very dangerous, and he was telling her how dangerous he was. She's like, "You're so beautiful. I don't even care. Go ahead and hurt me and kidnap me."
Teenage girls. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a really bad message.
All right. So are you gonna stick with this book?
Maybe not. Okay, probably not, because even though this one is good, the other two were better
Okay.
than I read.
Okay. Fair enough. I do plan to check it out. I mean, it looks like a fun kind of a fun break kind of book. I like cozy mysteries, and you just need a mental break sometimes, and you want something fun and light and relaxing, and and then you go back to work and deal with all that stuff you're dealing with. Okay, so next book is this one here, In Your Dreams by Robert Sanborn. And when I first saw this cover, I was thinking Twilight. It had that moody kind of like Seattle kind of looking thing going on. And so I was a little worried about that. But I was wrong. It's not at all like Twilight. It's not moody. It's not atmospheric. It's a male protagonist, and he's an easygoing kind of dude, even though he works in the ER. He just moved to Salem, Massachusetts. He's having weird dreams where he's a woman in a nightgown being chased through the woods by an angry crowd with torches. And he wakes up in the morning and there's pine needles in his hair. So, and he doesn't freak out. He goes out, gets some coffee, talks about it with the barista. She's like, "Oh, that's so weird. Let's talk about it over dinner." And he's like, "Yeah." So he uses an opportunity to score a date. And then he comes home and sets up a GoPro. So in case he's sleepwalking, he can like catch himself doing it. So he's just a practical, easygoing kind of guy, which is nice. And again, doesn't fit the theme of the cover. The cover makes it feel a little creepier than it is. The book is just an easy, fun read, and I can definitely see sticking with it. It was like when I had to go on to the next book, I'm like, oh, this was fun. I'm curious about what's going to happen next. It's just easy, that's what I'm saying. It's an easy book. Okay, next up, we have another space opera, Stars Like Cold Fire by Brent Nichols. The first of 3 books in the Alien Sky space opera series. The other books are $1 to $4 each. And the second is in Kindle Unlimited, but the third one is not in Kindle Unlimited for some reason. And we also had 2 different people reading this. Both Nick and Alex wanted to check it out. And Alex found the first chapter to be a little boring. And he's disappointed about the lack of spaceship battles in the first chapter, because the previous book had spaceship battles right in the first chapter. So he liked that one. So this one doesn't get going quite as fast for him. So he says maybe he gets more excited as it goes along, but he's not going to stick around to find out. And Nick says that the book starts out with the main character just graduating from a naval academy and beginning his career. Nick's problem with the book was that the military part doesn't make sense. because the guy has a family history that makes him a symbol to the anti-fascist movement, and the fascists try to kill him. And so his superiors give him the command of a starship in order to get him away from the assassination attempts, which Nick says is just crazy. Why would you give somebody just out of Naval Academy a starship to command? Nick says that when he was a brand new lieutenant, fresh out of the academy, nobody in his right mind was going to put him in charge of anything more expensive than a golf cart. So, but other than that, Nick liked the pacing, he liked the dialogue, and he liked the action. So there you go, two different takes on that. Moving on to a totally different kind of book. This is Once Upon a Time by Demelza Carlton, a collected set of the first 3 books in the 25-book romance and medieval fairy tale series. So there's 3 books in here, and they are Enchant and what else? Let me look that up. Enchant, Dance, and Fly. So it's the Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, and the Goose Girl stories. And the other books in the series are $4 each, the non-Kindle Unlimited. She is on this list all the time. We've reviewed her books in July, in April, in May, in September. In December, you reviewed Ocean's Justice, which is in a different series. She's got Siren of War. And oh, you're the one who reviewed Dance, Cinderella Retold, which was one of those 3 books. And you said in your original review that you're going to come back to it. Did you?
No. Looking over the review that I wrote for it, I'm still like, I feel like, whoa, like I would not come back to this. But I think that the thing that I liked about it was that it had old-fashioned like fairy tale vibes, which I'm into. I like that kind of, I like to feel like I'm reading something, you know, maybe from like the 1700s, maybe even earlier. I like that old stuff. Yeah, so it just had like, I think so I liked the vibe, but I'm not gonna come back to it though.
The next book I read, Roswell First Contact by Tony B. Richard. It's the only book in the Earth Secret Alliance Malcolm Dow series. But right in the subtitle, it says episode 1. So I'm thinking that the author might plan multiple episodes. And it's a short book. It's a novella. I think it's about 70 pages. So it's a quick read. And maybe there'll be more of them. And when I first saw Roswell, I was thinking of a TV show with angsty teenagers. So I was like, you know, do I really want to get into that? But it's not about angsty teenagers. Well, kind of. The protagonist, Malcolm Dow, is an army private, and so I didn't read far enough to find out how old he is, but I assume he's kind of young. And this was in 1947, New Mexico, and he and his unit watch a spaceship crash, and they go in there, and he finds. My dog is like, no. And so far it's okay. There's a little bit of drama with him and the other members of the unit because Malcolm's African American, and he gets a little bit of pushback from everyone else because he's better than other people in the unit, and they don't like that because they're racist, or some of them don't like it. But then it just gets weird. So he meets the alien. And the alien is Ambassador Geogram from planet Zalma. And it was just like, that's a little over the top. And the alien are like, we are peaceful and we're under attack. So we've come to Earth for help. I'm like, oh, geez, that's the most cheesy kind of 1950s science fiction trope there is. And they're like, And we want you, random army private, to be our go-between, between us and your nation's leaders. And it's just like, why?
I mean, it's cute, but
So yeah, it kind of has, if this was funny or tongue-in-cheek or self-aware, I think it'd be really cool. But the cheesiness, that's like the earnest cheesiness, made it hard for me to get into it. But it's definitely readable. If you like the protagonist and the kind of the struggle that he's in, then check it out. It's free. But I'm not going to come back to it. No. Next is another time travel book, Daughter of Time by Sarah Woodbury. And you read this one. And it's the first of 3 books in the After Silmary series. The other books are $3 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the second time we've seen this book on the list. So you reviewed it in August of 2021. And back then, you said that it's a good book, but you've got other things to read. So did you ever get back to this book?
no. Also, no.
So do you have any memory of this book at all, and comparing the two of them? Because we got this, she's going back to Wales, and the other one today is going back to Scotland.
This one, I think the other one was better.
The other one was
Much
better.
better.
All
Much
right.
better.
Okay, so good to know. So if readers here are looking for a free time travel book, check out the other one. Higher up in the list too.
Mhm.
All right, next. Okay, I'm really embarrassed to be even reviewing this book. So it's the old sex with aliens kind of romance trope, right? And I reviewed another book by this author, and the other book was Loving Captivity, and it was the setting was, you're out in outer space, and aliens are keeping humans as slaves, and the humans like it, and this human slave falls in love with the slave owner or whatever. It just creeped me out. It was readable, but it just creeped me out in a like super big way, and I couldn't keep going with it. This book switches it around. So the human Mara is looking for her lost sister, and she's checking out slave auctions to see if she can find her sister and save her from captivity. And she meets and she sees this guy on sale, the big green guy on the cover of the book there. And she's like, oh my God, he's hot. I have to save him from this, because otherwise he's going to die in captivity. They're just going to work him to death, or he's going to try to escape, and they'll kill him because he's so much trouble than his worth. And nobody else wants to buy him, so she gets him real cheap. And he's like really attracted to her, and she's really attracted to him, and she plans to free him. And it's like the stupidest, hokiest premise. I could not pull myself away from this book. I am so embarrassed. I do not plan to come back to it. This is not my kind of book. This is not my genre. But, I cannot guarantee that I will stay away from this book. Yeah, anyway.
Mhm.
And speaking of sex with aliens, we've got Her Alien Priest by Michele Mills, the first of 3 books in the Monster Bites romantic sci-fi series. The other books are $3 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited, but the 3rd book isn't out yet. It will be out next month. What did you think of this book, AMIRA?
I really enjoyed it, and I was initially embarrassed to enjoy it. I felt like you, Maria, but then I was like, in my head, I was like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have picked this book. It's kind of good, but it's embarrassing that I like it. And then I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, it was good. And I liked it. And this is one of the this might be my favorite one this week. So that's like my attitude now. I'm like, yeah, I like it. Want to judge me? Anyway, so why do I like it? Okay, so the main thing that I like about it is the situation psychologically that the protagonist is in. So I'm not entirely sure what the world that she's in is like, but her situation basically is that her community and her family are very strict and religious, and they're oppressively religious. And I don't think it says like which religion, but it's, that doesn't matter. They're
Right.
just oppressively religious. It kind of sounds, well, whatever. Uh, and one day, oh yeah, and they judge her. Her family judges her for two reasons, because she's reading romance novels and she's fat. She's fat and she's reading romance novels, and they're like, poo poo, aren't you just being useless? And then she literally becomes an outcast with her family because they catch her pleasuring herself
Oh
one day.
no.
I know. And I read that part and I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to say this to people. Ugh. So that's what happened. Someone caught her doing that, and they kicked her out of the family. Or not kicked her, well, basically they sent her to a nunnery. So they signed her up to be. And then her experience like as a nun was also very similar. The nuns were very much the same as her family, also judging her for reading romance and being fat. And then she gets kicked out of the nunnery. And that's when we meet the priest, who's a fire mage / monster who has taken on a vow of silence and celibacy. So I like the main character. So let me tell you basically why I like this book, and it's because I feel sympathetic to the main character, because I can really imagine her as a real person, especially because she feels like maybe everybody else is wrong. Maybe it's okay. Maybe romance is okay, and maybe being fat is okay, and maybe just everyone else is maybe her environment is wrong, and how she was raised was wrong.
Right.
So, and I feel like that type of thinking is kind of smart and also very realistic for like an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't it realistic if you get kicked out or you're judged a lot, you're going to start thinking maybe everyone else is wrong, right?
Well,
What
it
do you
depends on
think?
what you get, kicked out for. If you're a mass murderer and people are like, don't kill people anymore, But yeah, if you're not doing anything wrong, then yeah, it's a sign of good self-esteem and self-confidence to say, you know what, you guys are full of it.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
feel like she's smart, or
Yeah.
like self-esteem or something. Yeah. So I like it for that, and I can imagine her as like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's ends our list of the top 10 Free Friday books for today. Thanks to Alex and Nick, who couldn't be here today. Thank you, AMIRA, for helping me out with this. And if you want more content like this, please support our channel, hit the like and the subscribe button. You can also support us on Patreon. All the donations go to pay for original speculative fiction. And by the way, our submission period for the spring begins on March 1st. So if you have a short story that's less than 1,200 words, you can submit it between March 1st and March 31st for our spring submission cycle. And let us know what you think of the books. Have you read any of them? Do you plan to? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.